Okay, thanks for coming out, everybody. My experience that I want to share with you is my 2 near-death experiences. Like, one wasn't enough, so I had to have 2 to wake me up. But how I got to that level where I can actually, I'll share with you the experiences that I had on getting to those 2 near-death experiences, and then what I've done with the healing gifts that I've got, and then some real-life case studies. So my first near-death experience was actually about when I was in my mid-20s. I was going to college. I had a warehouse job at Target Distribution Center, and we used to unload rail cars. And what they do is they have these bulkheads inside the rail cars that move back and forth, and they keep the product in place while it's moving. Well, these huge bulkheads, actually it's kind of like the width of this, the bulkheads move back and forth, just like that. And this bulkhead was stuck. So I opted to climb up and release whatever was up there, so I was pulling, and then I had my teammates underneath, pulling from the bottom. And then all of a sudden, it just gave way, and this bulkhead just went sliding on its rails. And the only thing that stopped it was my head between the railings that the cross members. And it crushed my jaw, but the weird thing was I was looking at my body from a different perspective. I was looking at it from a higher level perspective, and it was kind of strange because, I was looking at my body and I'm going, God, what am I doing here when my body is there? So I could just feel that disconnect, but I didn't know that I had left my body. It was kind of confusing. And then, I kind of turned around, and then from there, my whole life started flashing in front of me. From the beginning to that point in time. And when I reached that point in time, I heard a noise, but in between that, I just want to say that although it flashed in front of me, I lived every moment and every experience in real time. So, that whole, like, about 22 years, it could have been just mere seconds, or, just minutes, not minutes, but just a few seconds. But so the dimension of, like, time and space was really confusing for me after that, because how could I live my whole life and feel my whole life within just mere seconds, when I've lived for like 22 years. So, and then from that point, I saw this beautiful light, and I'm sure you've heard this story before, where you see the beautiful light and the love and joy that you get, and then all of a sudden, it was this sharp pain. And it was more of in my spiritual body, and I was like pushed back. It's like, it's not your time yet. And I was pushed back into my physical body, and that's where I felt the pain and, all the tension, things like that. And I dropped down, and after I woke from in the hospital, a few days later, things were a lot brighter for me. Life was just more enjoyable. I could tap into people's, like, energies better. You get a sense of intuitiveness. More empathy towards people, things like that. But as life progressed, you get married, you have kids, you start a business, things like that. You start forgetting about, the spiritual side, although it's always been with me, that intuitive side, but you kind of hide it away from it, from that. So, so with my business, I got more into, like, computer programming, which is what, left brain, and it's not the spiritual side and all that stuff, but you get more and more into that, and the thoughts of, like, making more money or being more successful, things like that. And I needed, I guess, another awakening, because we had gone on a trip, a cruise, and we were supposed to go on an inner tube cruise, and we booked it, and we were going through the jungles, and it was about an hour out into the jungle, and the jungle was actually, like, truly beautiful. It was kind of like Jurassic Park, beautiful fronds. You have the animals out there, making noise, and the birds, all that. And as we were walking through, and how things are supposed to happen to you, how things happen to you when they're supposed to. Well, the universe kind of knew what was going on, because as soon as we got to the river, all the noises, all the birds stopped chirping, and it was just like dead silence, kind of like intro to a movie, where the battle starts happening. And within that, they were handing out the inner tubes, they were handing out life jackets. When they came to me, they didn't have a life jacket for me. So it was like I was supposed to have this experience. I mean, everything was just working out the way it was supposed to. So we got in a pack, and I thought, the river was going to be like an Apple River experience where it's nice and lazy river and enjoyable. No, this river was so fast. And the way Belize is, it's very porous. So it's very volcanic. So they have these huge rocks that jut out. And these rocks, they have like huge tunnels, holes that suck water in, and that feeds like underground waterfalls or caves, rivers, things like that. And so what happened was we got all together and we're supposed to interlock legs so we don't get lost and we don't get to different tributaries of the river because it could be dangerous for you. Well, as soon as we pushed off, what happens? Somehow my legs got unlatched, and my family and the tour guide went one way, I went the other way, right towards this rock that was jutting out with so much power, it literally like sucked me into that tunnel. And I was trapped probably, it just sucked me in probably 8-10 feet, and my fingernails were bloody, my back was bloody because I was trying to hold on so I wouldn't get sucked in further. And what happened was I saw the joy, the peace, and that time-space dimension again, where there was no feeling of time and space. And it's just, if you think of your most joyous moment, if you multiply that by like about 1 million times, you can feel the sense of joy and love that's out there, and it's just non-dimensional. But from that point, I let go, and that's what I felt. And then the next thing I know is like somebody like turned me off, and then put me back like about 10 or 15 feet in a shallow area outside the rock. And I don't know how I got there. I think God loves me. Kind of helped me there for a bit, because there was no human intervention. I mean, there was no physical intervention. But anyway, what happens is I've been able to like tap into your higher spirit and actually help. No matter if you've got like physical issues. I've had people who have had severe scoliosis, and their scoliosis have like straightened out within like 1-2 sessions. And it's not like I do it myself. I integrate well with like other healers. If you come to me and then you go to your chiropractor or a regular medical doctor, things like that, they're healing. They get more intuitive on what you need. And it could be like relationship issues. This past month, this woman, I worked through her son, through her, and that was the first time in 20 years. A week after I worked on her, her son called her up. And they said, "Mom, I'm trying to give up drugs, I'm doing all this." And they finally had a Christmas together after like 20 years. So whether it's, like I said, any like medical issues or relationship issues or spiritual type issues, I can help clear all that and get you like towards the right path of getting healthier. Thank you.